Have you ever questioned this altitude? The sky city of Machu Picchu, over 2,400 meters high, was it really built by the Inca Empire, which had no writing system? At that time, this ancient ruin in Peru, like our Great Wall, is considered one of the new 7 wonders of the world, a megalithic architectural wonder. In modern eyes, Machu Picchu's construction difficulty even surpasses Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza. The question of whether it was built by the Inca, its purpose, and how they moved tons of stones to the mountaintop remain unanswered. To this day, no clues have been left for us. So today, let's take a look at this Machu Picchu built on a cliff. Does its existence have any connection to us humans? You might not be very familiar with the Inca Empire. According to current historical accounts, this civilization existed for about 130 years. It officially fell in the late 16th century. The mainstream explanation for its demise is as follows. In the early 16th century, the Spanish first arrived in what is now Peru. Due to their appearance, with beards and golden hair, they resembled the gods worshipped by the Inca. They also had guns. The Inca, still in the Stone Age, believed that these Spaniards, with such advanced technology, must be the true form of the gods. As a result, the Spaniards were warmly welcomed. In return, they brought interesting food to the Inca civilization. Finally, in late 1526, the Inca king died of smallpox. After several interactions, this triggered internal strife for the throne. So, facing internal and external threats of coups and plagues, the Spanish had the idea to occupy this land. They took advantage of the chaos. They looted and burned. They burned. Basically everything related to the Inca Empire was turned to ruins. And at this point in the history, archaeologists have always been puzzled by one thing. Firstly, the Inca civilization, still in its Stone Age, was seen as a typical indigenous culture by the Westerners. So, in theory, they shouldn't have possessed advanced technology. But the first question that puzzles us is this. This Inca civilization was a golden civilization. In other words, the jewelry worn by these Incas was all made of gold. It was precisely because of this gold that the Spanish had such thoughts. However, how the Incas obtained this gold remains a mystery. Fortunately, when the Spanish occupied this land, they never knew about the existence of Machu Picchu. As mentioned earlier, this ancient ruin is built on a mountaintop over 2,400 meters high. So, for nearly 400 years after the Inca Empire fell, no one knew about the existence of this ancient ruin until 1911. This ancient ruin was discovered by the American explorer Hiram Bingham by chance. Therefore, regarding this ancient ruin, various mysteries arose from this. Firstly, when Bingham entered the ruins, he emphasized that the ruins were an abandoned structure. Also, these ruins share a common point with China's Sangxi-Dui ruins, which is that no writing has ever been discovered. Of course, it cannot be ruled out that Machu Picchu was built by the Inca for grand ceremonies and sacrifices. But the contradiction lies in the fact that after the fall of the Inca, about 500 years ago, not all the Inca people fled there. So, from another perspective, this is a place that has not been maintained for over 500 years, but you might not imagine that these ancient ruins are located in Peru's earthquake zone. In other words, the Inca people might have had advanced construction techniques, because apart from the frequent earthquakes, from a geographical point of view, we usually wouldn't build a city on such a high mountain. Similarly, the higher the terrain, the stronger the seismic shock will be. But contrary to understanding. This ancient city, without any maintenance, has stood for over 500 years. Moreover, these stone structures do not contain any materials, like cement or boulders. So even if modern humans tried to build an identical stone city, it would be impossible not to collapse without maintenance for 500 years. And the premise is, even modern reinforced concrete residential structures without maintenance for 500 years, it is impossible to imagine that they wouldn't collapse. Especially since this place is located in a major earthquake zone. So, from the perspective of current architectural knowledge, did the Inca people, still in the Stone Age, really have such incredible site selection skills? What do you think about this? Now that we've discussed the site selection mystery, let's move on to the even more unbelievable transportation mystery, because fundamentally, their transportation technology was even more unimaginable than the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Because in terms of geographical environment, building this stone structure on a mountaintop over 2,400 meters high means that you have to move these stones, weighing up to 20 tons, to the mountaintop. And this was done without wheels or animal assistance. As mentioned earlier, and many pieces of evidence also show, the Inca Empire was indeed still in the Stone Age. Therefore, compared to the Great Pyramid of Giza, Machu Picchu, which is over 2,000 meters higher, seems impossible to solve this problem. That defies the limits of human labor, simply by relying on manpower. And there is more evidence showing that the stones used in Machu Picchu share a common point with the Great Pyramid of Giza. That common point is that these stones were transported from places several kilometers away. Some experts even pointed out that the stones used in Machu Picchu actually came from hundreds of kilometers away. So, with such exaggerated additional conditions, unless there was more advanced technology involved, or these stones were not as hard and heavy as we imagined. Even now, we cannot replicate an identical copy. But there must be a way. It's just that this method might have been lost, or this technology was not from us humans at all. In addition to the site selection problem and the transportation problem of Machu Picchu, the Inca people at that time might have had more advanced technology in stone stacking and polishing, because we can clearly see that although these stones are irregular, they can still be stacked to create tight seams that even a hair cannot fit through. And according to current geologists, it is precisely because Machu Picchu has these characteristics that these irregularly shaped stones and the several faces in different directions can transmit the force brought by earthquakes in more directions, so that the transmission force directions of each face are inconsistent, which can play a good role in earthquake resistance. And a more critical point is that it is precisely because these stones are not mixed with cement or other fillers that there will be a certain amount of space for activity between the stones when an earthquake occurs, which helps to disperse energy. Similarly, after the earthquake stops, these stones will fit together again due to the space for activity. But the above statement is only in the speculation stage, because even the scientists who propose this theory have no certainty at all. So it sounds so simple, but there is no relevant experiment to prove the theory described above. At the same time, to fit these stones perfectly, the polishing technology is also something that is almost impossible for the Inca people to complete alone. Because the stones that appear in Machu Picchu are mostly granite with a hardness of 6 or more. So even if you use stones of the same hardness to grind, this is also a world-class project, because even if they could flatten the stone surface at that time, they would have to spend a lot of time and effort to polish these corners into perfectly corresponding fit angles. Therefore, theoretically, the Inca people who were still in the Stone Age would almost never have made such a construction design for a residence or a sacrificial site. The only explanation for this might be that the granite at that time was not as hard as it is now. perhaps even as soft as tofu. Or they might have mastered an additive technology at that time that could temporarily soften these granites. Otherwise, we can only explain it in terms of theology, for example, like the smaller pyramids of the ancient Egyptians. Most of them are now unrecognizable. But the 3 Giza pyramids, which are the most difficult to build, are the best preserved. Therefore, although our technology is indeed constantly improving, many original technical processes are also constantly being lost. And interestingly, whether it was the Spanish at that time or modern Peruvians, if they build houses near earthquake zones, they will almost all be doomed to collapse. So, until now, many people suspect that Machu Picchu was not built by the same group of people at all. Why? The reason is that Machu Picchu does have 2 completely different stone stacking styles. The first style is the perfectly fitted stacking style at the bottom. The other style is the stacking style, made of small stones on top. Although both are stones, experts, through radiocarbon dating, have provided data showing that the age of these small stones is much newer than the large stones below. According to the most credible data currently available, these large stones have existed for over 1,500 years. There are even rumors that these stones have existed for over 17,000 years. But the point is not this, because careful viewers might have noticed that if these large stones below were really built by the Inca people, then it means that this civilization is facing serious signs of regression in architectural techniques, because from the style of these small stones, the gaps and polishing techniques of the 2 show a huge difference in style. Not to mention the construction difficulty of the 2. So this was obviously not done by the same group of people. Therefore, there is really a possibility that a group of people with strong architectural skills did appear in this place at that time. Later, it is unknown why this group of people left. So, thousands of years later, the Inca people discovered this place and used small stones to add to the city, because there are frequent earthquakes here. What's more, don't forget an ironclad fact. The Inca civilization was a civilization without writing. So, like these most substantive measurement problems of stones, how did they make precise calculations? And they are all steep and rugged mountain roads. Even if the stones at that time were light, they would have to climb more than 5,000 meters in the round-trip transportation. And apart from Machu Picchu, what embarrasses the descendants of the Inca people, the Peruvians, the most is that apart from Machu Picchu, the Inca civilization also has 2 equally mysterious ancient ruins. One is called Puma, and the other is the Tiwanaku ancient ruin that has been briefly mentioned in this channel. And these 2 ancient ruins also have similar common points with Machu Picchu. The author will also make a separate video in the future to explain to you, according to the myths of the Inca Empire, their creator god, built these ruins in this way. At the same time, he is also considered the king of all living beings in the megalithic civilization. Therefore, when he created megalithic ruins, he would first turn the stones into giants. Therefore, in Inca mythology, these ancient ruins were all built overnight. But unfortunately, the god in the hearts of the Inca people has the characteristics of tall, long beards and white skin of Westerners. Therefore, in a misunderstanding, they led the wolf into the house, eventually leading to the decline of the entire empire. So, regarding this history, who do you think is right and who is wrong? Thank you for watching this. Friends who have watched this, if you are also interested in the content of this issue, you can also share your personal opinions in the comments section. Finally, please give the author a small like as a reward. See you in the next issue.